All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the LAS Philly Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Laith Sinclair. First off, I just want to, as you can see, have a new background. I'm trying something out. We'll see. It may not be my background. I also want to let you guys know that I've uploaded the first episode to YouTube, so you can go check that out. Just search Laith Sinclair, and you should find that along with other school projects that I've uploaded. I also want you to feel free to comment on my videos. That's one of the things I love about Philly fans is they're very opinionated and passionate. All I ask is that you're respectful to me. If you want to give your opinion, that's fine. Just try and be respectful. But I welcome your opinion. I welcome a healthy debate and discussion with fans. That being said, let's start. Let's begin. And I want to start with the Eagles, reluctantly. But yeah, they as expected, they struggled at Tampa Bay. They were missing some key pieces. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith were both scratched. And then unexpectedly, we had Lane Johnson uh, scratched. So those are three obviously huge pieces to our offense. That being said, the coaches and the players should have prepared better for that. They should have understood that the passing game is probably going to be affected and that Jalen Hurts may not be protected as well. He's missing his two best receivers and he's missing his best offensive lineman. So let's go look at the stats. What happened? They must have relied on Saquon Barkley a ton, right? 10 carries for 84 yards. 10 carries. You're missing your top receivers and your best offensive lineman, and you only run the ball 10 times. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You cannot put that much pressure on your quarterback, who is also still struggling, by the way. He had two fumbles, I believe, and one of them was lost. And it was in a crucial moment too. We were obviously down big at halftime, but we made kind of a push in the second half. We were down 14 with the ball. We were driving again. We could have gotten within one score if we had gotten a touchdown, but Jalen was strip sacked. Now that could have also been due to the fact that he didn't have his best offensive lineman, Lane Johnson. That was an issue all game too. And it also didn't help that on a day where we needed the defense to step up, they kind of struggled again. They After a great performance in New Orleans, they kind of reverted back to the previous weeks down in Tampa Bay. So yeah, it was a rough week for our Eagles, and thankfully they have a bye week. I'm not sure just yet if we need to be thinking about moving on from Jalen, or I'm getting closer towards thinking about that they need to fire Sirianni, but I'm not there yet. I need to see him with a healthy team, and there's been a lot of roster turnover during his tenure, obviously. So a lot remains to be seen, but they can always turn things around after their bye week. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the Eagles portion of this episode. When we come back, we will talk a little Phillies playoffs. That's a little more positive, I think. I thought they were going to have their opponent decided tonight, but Milwaukee had other ideas. All right, stay tuned for the next segment of the LAS Philly Sports Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome to the final segment of episode 2 of the LAS Philly Sports Podcast. Before we start, I just want to mention that I'm not a huge expert when it comes to hockey. So you might not see, I know it says Philly Sports. You might not see a whole lot of hockey and Flyers content, but I will try my best to talk about the Flyers when the season is underway. That being said, you will still get a decent amount of basketball, football, and baseball. That being said, let's talk a little bit about the Phillies. It's playoff time, October, best time of the year for baseball fans. And I thought the Phillies were going to have their opponent decided. I thought the Mets were going to close out the Brewers tonight and advance for an all NL East divisional matchup with the Phillies. But the Brewers had other ideas, and they forced a deciding game three that will decide who travels to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. The game three will be tomorrow. Now both teams present quite a challenge. They're both tops top fives in as a team in playoff batting average, and they both have two players that are top two in individual batting average in the playoffs. Bryce Terang for the Brewers and Mark Vientos for the Mets, both top in batting average so far in the playoffs. Granted, it is a small sample size, but I think that both teams have batters that will provide a strong challenge for our pitchers. And it also provides a case that Taijuan Walker should absolutely not see a single inning of playoff baseball. Rely on Zach Wheeler, rely on Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, guys like Orion Kerkering, Jeff Hoffman. Rely on those guys, but do not play Taijuan Walker. Now let's look at the Phillies a little more. Obviously, we did not end the season on a very high note. In our last 10 games, we were 4-6. Obviously, we're kind of slumping into the playoffs. And we lost our chance at the 1 seed. That being said, the last couple of years, you probably noticed that top teams are kind of getting upset. We're a 2 seed, so hopefully that doesn't happen as a 2 seed to us. But it is definitely a concern for those top 2, 3 seeds. Now we had a winning record against both teams in the regular season. Actually, we had a 4-2 record versus Milwaukee, and a 7-6 record versus the Mets. Now, I'm a little iffy about that record versus the Mets because it seemed like every time I watched Phillies Mets game, it was a dogfight. It was a struggle, and it's going to be a dogfight against either one of these teams. Whoever wins tomorrow will provide a dogfight for the Phillies, and they need to be ready. It doesn't matter if they have home field. They need to be ready. That being said, we are also an amazing team. We've got top heavy batters. We've got Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, Trey Turner. We got a ton of guys that can score in bunches. And we've got some pretty decent pitchers, but we need consistency. Last couple of years, the hitting has not played up to the talent, has not been up to the talent level in the playoffs. And the pitching has also been an issue, especially in the bullpen. So we do have the talent, we've got the home field, but we need to play up to to that level. That being said, we're obviously a team that can compete for a championship, and there's no reason that the Phillies can't be celebrating on Broad Street when it's all said and done. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for another episode of the LAS Philly Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Laith Sinclair. Have a good night, guys.